Hey everyone, it's Andy Kushner with The Wedding Biz. So my music and entertainment company is based out of the Washington, D.C. metropolitan area, where there are several highly talented and accomplished wedding and event industry pros. And I think I've interviewed around 10 or so such professionals, and today adds yet another to the list. Before I mention her name, I want to remind you that starting next month, I will be releasing 2 episodes per month, which will occur on the first and third Mondays, unless there is a holiday, in which case it'll be the second and fourth Mondays. So for next month, July, it'll be on the 8th and the 22nd. And this will also give you a chance to catch up on all the past episodes you might not have gotten to, and know that you can search for a name to see if I've interviewed them by going to theweddingbiz.com and typing the name in the search field at the top of the page to get the date and the episode number. So if you missed last week's interview, it was with Carrie and Jennifer, the owners of Lavender and Rose, based in France. Today's guest is Susan Lacz, the principal and chief executive officer of Ridgewells Catering. She is a founding member of the Elite Catering and Event Professionals. Susan also currently serves on the board of directors for the Greater Washington Board of Trade, Junior Achievement and Young Presidents Organization. And as an influential leader in the business community, she has been honored with the Washington Business Journal's Women Who Mean Business Award and named to their Power 100 list. Susan has also been a finalist for the Ernst & Young Entrepreneur of the Year Greater Washington Award. Enjoy this conversation with Susan Lacz. Hey, Susan. It has been a long time since we've seen each other, but it's so much fun to have you on the show. So thanks for doing this.
Well, thanks for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I'm curious what your passions were growing up. Like, was there anything connected to what you're doing today?
I would say yes. I had a very strong role model growing up in my grandmother, or my babci, because I'm Polish. And I think if you read any of my stories, my grandparents immigrated from Poland and they moved to northern New Jersey and lived on a very large farm, a piece of property with a lake, and it was just a fabulous gathering place. And so on weekends, my grandparents, they'd have 25, 50, 100 Polish people there every weekend.
My God.
And my grandmother would throw together, a luncheon for all these people without even batting an eye. And back in those days, there was like no microwaves or convection ovens or freezers or stuff like that. So she'd throw together, a nice buffet for everybody, and everybody pitched in. But, she was the entertainer. She was the cooker. It skipped a generation with my mother. So my mother was not a great cook, but I really enjoy cooking. And my grandmother would come to our house because my mom worked and prepared dinner for us. And I would watch her, and she was really kind of my inspiration in the food business.
That's great. Well, so when did the passion hit you specifically for the food business?
Well, I think more importantly, I'm a salesperson first.
Yeah.
So I went and started working at a deli in Wyckoff after school. And so I would be behind the counter selling pastrami sandwiches and enjoyed, doing food then, and, would always volunteer to deliver the party platters to different parties, and always enjoyed taking the party orders. And then when I came down to Washington to go to college, I got a job behind a bar. So it's pastrami sandwiches or Long Island iced teas or gin and tonic. So it was just a different atmosphere. And I just enjoyed talking to people and selling, and it all always included food and beverage.
But what did you major in college?
Marketing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So it's all connected.
Yeah, it's all connected.
And then you got into Ridgewells, it was 1986.
Yes.
And like you said, in sales. And then in 1997, purchased it with business partners. What was it like to start taking over a company that had been in existence since the 1920s?
Yeah, 1928. So I fortunately had the ability to work with the original owners for a hot minute before they sold it. So that's their story to tell. But when I knew what Ridgewells was all about, and I knew it was all its glory. It was the only game in town, and Jeff and Bruce Ellis were icons in this event industry, and they were just spectacular. And then when the company got sold and then resold again, it just was losing its allure. And I was at the beginning of my career here, and so I just felt I really wanted to bring it back to where where it was when the Ellis's had it. And we were slipping, we were losing market share. We were worried more about bottom line than quality. And so it was important for me to bring it back to where it was.
So what would you say were some of the milestones, the highlights in terms of what you did and your team in order to lift the brand back up?
Yeah, well, first of all, I fired my boss at the time, so that was great. Got rid of him, and then we just really focused back on quality and creativity and freshness. And it was important to make sure that we were, at the top of our game, and those things. So we got a new culinary director in, a new executive chef, and we had to go out and we hosted a party back when we first bought the company that was just an over-the-top party at the Halcyon House. And basically, it was Ridgewells to the runway, and we would take our linens and put them on models, and we put croquembouches on their heads, and we just really innovative and creative to say okay, we're back better than ever, and we're fresh and we're creative. And so it was just really rebranding Ridgewells. Did
you also change the structure, the infrastructure of the company?
No, not really. I mean, there are those people when I did buy the company, like at that time, my boss, not the president of the company, but my director of sales, he was like, I can't work for you now. So he left. So a lot of people left when I bought the company. Not a lot, I should say. A few people left, but not really. I mean, we're still doing things, but we're just more efficient and better and more productive and more creative.
How do you look at, from what I've heard being in the area here, people really enjoy their jobs here. There's a real sense of ownership. As a CEO, how do you bring that about? How do you do that here at Ridgewell?
So it was a journey, and and culture is really important to me. And so, a lot of my competitors sold to major, food service companies. And I know from speaking to a lot of the employees that culture has gone down the crapper. But having a working environment is important to me. That everybody feels appreciated and safe, and it's just a really great culture here, and I've worked really hard on it. And my dad was a entrepreneur as well, and he ran a company that is still in business. And when I first bought the company, I made him my chair of the board. And he's been a mentor towards me to help me change things here and turn things around, as well as, at the time, Jose Velado was who hired me back in '86. And he's still an owner of a shareholder of the company. But it's just having great mentors and understanding, being from that side of the business, I think it's important to have everybody understand and be appreciated, and making sure that we've got a really strong, healthy working environment.
Yeah, it's interesting. In my own company, I'm going through a renewal here of bringing back people, especially the key people in each of the acts that I have, the entertainment acts. But I'm taking people out to see concerts. We're having meetings, and I'm really wanting to get their input now. It's so much more comfortable doing it this way. And I mean, of course, you would think it would be obvious. I had to be reminded that there are really good ideas that can come from our own people.
Right.
And to listen to them. I've been asked where I gained the inspiration and expertise to host this show, The Wedding Biz, and it all comes from my own experience in the weddings and event industry of creating world-class entertainment to support our custom entertainment design. Kushner Entertainment features outrageously dynamic bands, strings, and a host of other entertainment acts that have won numerous international, national, and local to the Washington, D.C. area awards, not only for individual acts, such as the band Sound Connection, but also for our highly engaging and captivating entertainment design concepts. Go to KushnerEntertainment.com to learn more about the ultimate in event entertainment. That's KushnerEntertainment.com. What are some of the biggest challenges that you've run into within your position as CEO? Like,
Well,
what's the hard part of this?
I mean, listen, Andy, you've been in this business as long as I have, if I'm maybe a little bit longer than you. I mean, I'm coming up on 38 years here at Ridgewells. And each year is a different challenge. Of course, COVID was crippling to everybody in this industry. And that was probably the most difficult time of my life during COVID.
How do you think you survived that as a company? I mean, did you have to furlough people, let go?
Yes,
I mean, we had to do that.
95% of my team were let go, but I attribute it to the fact that I had a really strong team around me.
Yeah. So that's how you got through. Yeah. What is the general process that you have your people go through once you get the job? Mm-hmm. You know, is there a certain formula in a sense that's part of the brand of Ridgewells?
No, because we give, I mean, yes and no. I mean, we provide our team with very, fresh menus every season. We provide them with, we partner up with the right rental companies. Just understanding what our brand is, and we have strong brand guidelines in the computer system. So it's important for them to make sure that they're the freshest and the best value and the most creative and setting us aside from our competitors, because our competitors are really what keeps us fresh right now.
Right.
And we've got some great competition out there, but I think just really keeping fresh and you're only as good as your last party. And as long as we continue to maintain our quality and our service and our reliability, I think, that's been our success here. Yeah.
You talk about, keeping it fresh. Over these decades, what are some of the biggest changes that you've seen on the catering side of the business?
Well, I mean, it used to be all about the food, and now I feel like sometimes it's all about the tabletop and the linen and the glittery glasses and the speckled plates and the decor and all this. Like that stuff, like back in the day, it was Hargrove and Ridgewell. So,
that's right.
Was about it. Like you didn't get into this decor over the top stuff. So, I mean, it's just being able to evolve during, in the changing environment that we have, and just being able to keep up with everything that's going on, and the new technology with events, and what's the latest trends, and what's the freshest foods, and how are we going to display that? And it's just keeping up with the trends.
Well, and I don't know about the catering side exactly, but it seems that in a lot of the other parts of the industry, especially planners, entertainment, it's just so saturated now. The market is saturated, right? So to stay on top is really such a challenge. I mean, that's what for me led to dealing more with the human side.
So we used to be one of the first, we were the first of everything in the city, in the industry, actually. And we owned our own equipment. We're actually sitting in my new office that used to be our laundry room.
Okay.
So, but when our team started to rent more from other rental companies, because rental companies were a new thing back then, and we decided to make the decision to not have rental equipment anymore, because we're caterers. Let's focus on the food. I'm not going to invest $1 gazillion in beaded plates and 17 different colors of Shivari chairs and whatever chairs out there now. So we made the decision to sell all of our equipment and focus on the food and the staff, and the actual planning of the event, and making sure that we have, we can make the customer feel as comfortable as they can in our operational skills, our culinary skills, and our service and everything else. So we got rid of the equipment. So that's how we evolved. Because it's all about the food for us.
Yeah, I get it. Well, and also you've got, I mean, you're in almost obviously every venue in town, but you've got some exclusivity too with some major venues. Is that something that's recent?
Yeah, that's new. Yes, it's new. I mean, there's a lot of my competitors have exclusive venues. This is a really exciting one for us, the Mellon Auditorium.
Yeah, that's
so we're really the exclusive venue manager, and we're the preferred caterer there. So it's really opened up a lot for us. And the Mellon is such an iconic location, as you well know, and it's been closed down twice since now I've been in this business, and it's just even more glorious than ever. It came back, and it's just so spectacular. spectacular. So we're really fortunate to have a contract with the federal government, at least to hold the building.
Which must have been very hard to get, given it was the federal government.
We monitor all those RFPs that come out. I have someone that just monitors the Gov sites and seeing what kind of contracts we can have, because we do have a contract division that does go after this kind of stuff. And when we were talking about it in a meeting and like, should we go after it? I'm like, yeah, of course we want to go after it.
Yeah. I want to ask you too, just a little bit on the personal side, in terms of, in your position, you have so much responsibility to balance your personal life with the business life. How do you look at that?
Yeah. So, it's clearly evolved over my 38-year career, but for me, it was always important to make sure that I was in a good place as a young mother, when I started having kids, when I first started in this business, as a salesperson, as a manager, as a leader. I need to make sure that my life is balanced, and I try to mentor my team, which majority of them are women and just young mothers and people coming new to their careers. It's just important. Like, I'm not going to be a good mother or a good leader unless I take care of myself.
Yes.
So I don't come in until 10 o'clock, but back then I was the first one in and the last one to leave. But I think it's always important to make sure you take care of yourself first.
Yeah, I completely agree. And having kids, father or mother, but I know especially with the mother, it's even more challenging. It's so hard to balance a career. I also believe that it's a wonderful way to role model for our kids, that we also have interests and passions.
Absolutely.
And it's important,
Yeah, I'd like to think, I've got 2 boys, and I'd like to think that they will have nothing but wonderful things to say about me when I'm long gone in this world. That I've been a good role model and a good mom too. But they know I've worked hard my whole life.
Yeah. Well, last question: How do you view success? Like, what does that word mean to you in this?
Oh gosh. Well, I'm really happy to say that Ridgewell's has survived 95 years, and
amazing.
Not many companies could say that they've been in business for 50 years, let alone 95 years,
and in this industry,
too. I feel that this is a good place, and people are happy to work here, and we are doing well, and I'm building a future for the people in this company, and I feel we're here and we're alive and we're kicking and we're kicking ass. So
wonderful.
That to me is success.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Susan. I really appreciate you doing
Andy,
this.
my pleasure.
Appreciate
Thanks
it.
for having me here.
Thank you for listening to this conversation with Susan Lacz. If you enjoyed it, please don't keep it to yourself. Tell a friend about it. And also be sure to follow her, Ridgewells, on Instagram at RidgewellsDC. You can also find their website, which is ridgewells.com. And be sure to check out the show notes with event pics that our guest provided at our website, oftheweddingbiz.com. And next week's guest is going to be a revisit of my conversation with Jose Villa and Lori Ahrens about how they work together as photographer and event planner designer. And finally, follow us on Instagram at The Wedding Biz, and we'll catch you in 2 weeks.